Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Welcome back, people. Hopefully you can hear me this time out. Last week, God knows what happened. I don't know if I'm doing that again right now. We'll see. But big stuff happened this weekend. Big weekend. Like we said last week, this was a big fight feel and very much followed through with that. Huge main event. Alex Pereira back on top of the world. Co-main event was close. Closer than a lot of people think.
It was close. It was a good fight. We'll talk about it.
But a great week of fights. Got some more fight news after that. And also, we're going to be looking at UFC Rio happening this weekend. Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. Also, we're going to take a pretty deep dive into UFC Qatar happening November 22nd. A bunch of fights from there got announced.
They're stacking that card.
They're stacking that card up. First time in Qatar. They're really showing out. I love that. We've been saying this a lot, but I love the locations fights. No more Apex. Like, I'm here for the Apex. We got a couple of Apex cards in November.
Yeah, we had this discussion already.
But in October, we got a really good month ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, we have 2 pay-per-views and then 2 location cards. We have Rio and then Vancouver next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of good cards. Shame that the main events fell through or were altered in both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
But I mean, for Rio, arguably this is a better fight looking at the rankings.
Yeah.
And in Vancouver, that fight was definitely halted a little bit. I think the hype behind it is a little bit wishy-washy now too. I haven't really. I thought I saw a lot of people talking about Hernandez versus Rener de Ryder as like the dark horse, like the real contender of the division. But now that fight
it was.
fell through,
I think that obviously Imavov is going to get the title shot off of his win, but obviously whoever won at least between RDR and Fluffy when it was booked was probably getting the next shot.
Yeah, and you could argue that if they got a real good finish or like made a real big statement, either one of them, they maybe could have got ahead. But I think there's no world for that now. But let's talk about 320. Alex Pereira made the adjustments like we both called. We did well on predictions.
We did
well
good
on
this
predictions.
Week. We did well last week.
I wrote, we are so back. We are so back.
Light heavyweight is fun again.
Light heavyweight is back. They were talking about the Ankalaev era. What are we doing, guys? Come on. Let's slow your roll, buddy.
1 fight, 5 months?
1 fight, 5 months.
No defenses?
Not going to happen. Thank God. Quick fight. It was only a minute and 28 seconds?
I think it was literally a minute 20 on the dot.
That is incredible.
It was fast.
For a 25-minute fight in the last one to get shortened to a minute 30, it just really speaks to not the adjustments, but the mentality he came out with. The power. And
I think I don't know if we talked about it last week or if I talked about it with friends at home, but we always say, we're like, how hard does Alex hit? It's ridiculous.
It's shocking. Like, I remember Joe Rogan saying this after like UFC 300. I remember watching Jamal Hill's eyes roll in the back of his head as he was falling down.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is different.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if he was getting knockouts, like his one against Izzy in kickboxing with the 16-ounce gloves, him with the 4-ounce, like barely padded gloves, that's like a lethal weapon right there.
Yeah, a friend of mine said if I was offered $500,000 on the spot to get hit clean by Pereira, I'm not taking it. He's like, I don't want that damage.
We had a discussion like this, a little more skewed in our friend group. We said, would you rather get hit by a car going 25 miles an hour or eat a clean shot, like not being able to brace for it from Francis Ngannou? And we actually had mixed results on that. I feel like that's a discomfort.
That's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I said the car. I said the car.
Yeah, maybe.
Because like I feel like if you're not bracing too, that was like we made sure that was very much included.
Like you're not prepping for the shot.
You're not like your neck isn't braced, nothing's tensed up. It's just it like spins your chin clean.
It can literally give you like brain damage.
Yeah,
it can give you brain damage.
I'm good off that. I'll just take the broken leg.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
The car, maybe.
Exactly.
But if Francis Ngannou and Alex Pereira, also Ateba Gautier, kind of in that conversation of these crazy hard hitters. We'll get to that later. But back to Pereira, talking about the adjustments he made going into fight 2, obviously right away, setting the pace. Came out with the immediate 1-2. And he loaded up on that too. Had Ankalaev really going back with that.
I think that caught him way off guard.
I think he was expecting a lot like the first fight where Pereira would be a little bit more easy to kind of like go to that back foot and start moving back. Alex Pereira barely took any steps back. And even
No.
when Ankalaev tried to put his hands together with combinations, he took that like little half step back and then like kind of blocked the follow-up shot and was right back on the pressure.
It was like an entirely different mentality for
It
Pereira.
really, really
I think
was.
I noticed right away, and I don't know if you noticed this too, but I said it to the friends I was watching with. When they separated, they had the face off, ref reads the rules, they back up like they're about to start fighting. Pereira was bouncing, like he was bouncing around,
He was
getting
ready.
loose. And usually he
He's
just
stoic.
stands there stoically, but he was bouncing around, getting ready. I was like, oh no.
You knew. I weirdly, okay, I bumped into a friend in the city over the like I think it was like on Thursday. And we were talking about the UFC card and like my picks kind of like flip-flop and I told him like, I think Corey Sandhagen has more of a chance than Alex Pereira. And he was like, "What are you talking about, dude?"
Yeah.
And in hindsight, yeah. But Alex Pereira, when he turns on that like that kill mode, is really something you can't combat. And the adjustments that he made, he saw the Jan Blachowicz fight with Magomed Ankalaev where he went shin to shin with him. And maybe there was something in the first fight, like the injury that prevented him from doing that. But he threw 2 outside leg kicks. And because they were in opposite stances, it resulted in them going shin to shin. Or it was 3 kicks, excuse me. And then Ankalaev switched stance. And his main weapon is that check hook. And when he's obviously orthodox, he's not as quick with it. So Alex Pereira just went over the top with a big right hand and it connected big. And I was surprised. He from like the first optics, I thought he took it well.
It seemed like it.
When he went down for that shot and kind of gave up position so easily, I was like, oh, like this really hurt him.
I wonder if it was more like it hurt him or it like shocked him and scared him.
I think it really did shock him because he was already a little skittish going on the back foot, really being pressured.
It was definitely
unlike
a
something in the
panic.
first
It was
fight.
definitely a panic shot.
Yeah, definitely. But I saw this video today. In the follow-up after the knockout, he threw 2 12-6 elbows to the body, and he fractured 2 of Ankalaev's ribs.
It's crazy.
I saw a video of him getting stitched up, like, after the fight. I was like, that man is some serious like, his, like, knees and elbows are really, like monstrous.
Yeah.
And his kickboxing career, I love picking kickboxers in MMA. I just always feel like their sense of range is, like, the biggest aspect in mixed martial arts and carries them so far. That's why you see so many high-level kickboxers at like the top of their division.
Mhm.
But Pereira's understanding of that, and especially when Ankalaev switched to orthodox, was
Yeah. He switched.
outstanding.
I think it was within like 10 seconds of him switching to orthodox. He landed the big
He
shot.
landed that. It was like he switched, moved a little bit, kind of stood still at the cage, bracing, looking for a check hook.
Mhm.
Wham!
Right
Great
over the top.
finish. And with disdain too.
Yeah.
Disdain and emotes on him after.
Yeah, I know.
Love that.
It was
I was
great.
like, I needed that. After one of my underdogs, Ju Sang Yu, was doing a
Mhm.
little mock-in and got sparked. I needed something like that.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
That was a rough one. That was one of my underdogs I picked too.
That was a rough one.
We'll get to my underdogs.
We'll get there
I
soon.
got 1 for 3, but I liked what I saw. Let's talk about Merab though, the co-main event. His cardio proved superior once again. I mean, what can you even talk about? Firstly, let's talk about the second round. I feel like that was the most punctual moment of the fight.
It was, and it was the most surprising.
I was shocked. I mean, Corey was just moving straight back with his hands down, got caught big time, and it was a flurry of punches. Like there was a big punch where he reacted and shot for the takedown, but it was like a sustained barrage.
Yeah.
And I was actually up in Corey Sandhagen's chin a lot. I was like, this guy's eating bombs from Song Yadong. Like, Merab has no chance. But the swarming was really impactful because Corey is so used to like using his length and resetting that like when someone turns up the pressure like that, it's just tough. And you got to pivot real quick.
It's not
and
just
you
pressure.
get
It's
there.
Merab pressure.
Merab pressure. It's machine pressure.
And
But
he threw in that sequence where he actually rocked Corey and dropped him. It's like he threw a million punches.
it was a lot of punches.
His
and
striking really like surprised me.
His striking surprised me in the second O'Malley fight too. I saw a lot of people critiquing Sean O'Malley for that second fight and like his footwork in there. But regardless, Merab's pressure made his footwork falter or put him in a position where he had to kind of scramble. So it's just him combining his striking with his biggest weapon is cardio. So it's just the pressure striking more than anything else.
Sean O'Malley also said after the fight that he's like, I think I'm the only one in the division that can actually beat him because you need to clip him. And people are like, come on, dude.
Dude,
You already
we're not
lost
here. We're not
twice.
here for round.
You
for
already
fight
lost
3.
twice, dude. They're like, somebody said that him losing 3 fights in a row to him would be some sort of like humiliation ritual or something.
I want to put a pin in that. We'll come back to that when we talk about who Merab fights next. I did want to say that Corey seemed the most well prepared out of all of Umar's opponents. Or not Umar's, sorry, Merab's opponents. I was going to talk about the Umar fight.
One of the most like glaring things to me was the takedown total because he didn't really control him
There was not a lot of
on the
control
ground,
time, but it was just the repeated takedowns against the fence.
He just dropped him, got back up,
the
dropped him,
body
got
lock.
back up.
He just couldn't. I mean, like Corey was addressing the body lock, but like after 2 or 3 other takedowns, so it really piled up against him. And like we said, the cardio, the physicality, the pace. I mean, like I said, I think in last podcast, the jiu-jitsu advantage was real for Corey Sandhagen. Ever since that Aljamain Sterling fight where he got choked out in round 1, he's dedicated his whole life to just knowing the specifics. Like
Doesn't want that happening again.
He cannot ever be put out like that again. And that's why I really thought that he might be able to leverage some positions and maybe make Merab scramble in positions where he doesn't have to and cause a little more chaos on the ground. But Merab just kept that body lock, and like he's so strong that it takes so much out of Corey to even like address it.
And as crazy as it is to say on the card, because if you look at the cards, it was what 49, 45 on like some cards, maybe 2 or 1 card at least.
I think it was like there was a couple 49s and then a 48.
Yeah, like Corey fought like he didn't fight a bad fight.
Yeah,
he fought about as good a fight as he could.
Yeah, and if that round 2 wasn't a 10-8 and like maybe he didn't get caught but still lost the round, the scorecards would be very close. I think that 10-8 really kind of stunted his ability in the fight. I thought he looked good in round 3 and round 4, especially like the later rounds, which is surprising against Merab. But it's once you get 10-8'd like that, and then you lose another round, like round 3, and a guy who doesn't really have knockout power like Corey Sandhagen, what are you going to do in that situation?
That's part of it too. I think like we were talking about with Ankalaev, perhaps like it was the same thing with Corey, where I don't think Corey's going into this fight expecting Merab to land a big shot on him that rocks him or puts him down because it's Merab. Like he's not known for that. So maybe that happening kind of like it definitely shocked him a little bit, like we were talking about with Ankalaev.
But yeah, who beats Merab, man? Let's get into like what's next for each guy. I do want to. Oh, and we'll get back to that for Ankalaev and Pereira as well.
Yeah, quick. We have to talk about one more fight.
I wanted to talk about 135 and kind of the position that division is in. Merab said he called in a favor from Dana and wants to fight in December against Peter Yan, which I mean, it makes sense.
It does.
He's probably because Umar's booked. Who else would really fight for the championship at 135?
I think Yan is the obvious contender.
But in December is nuts for him, though. It gives him like 2.5 months-ish.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts for Merab. It's nuts for Yan, too, especially if he hasn't been training for it. I feel like...
I'd imagine he was in camp.
I feel like he's kind of been secretly in camp, like preparing for it, because Merab said it so much.
Merab has been talking about that. So I'd imagine Peter Yan was either in a position where he wanted to get a fight before the end of the year, and then Merab is like, oh, I want to fight you in December. He's like, regardless, I'll just fight in December, even if Corey Sandhagen puts like a little more of a beating on him and he has to wait and hold it back. So maybe it was like that, but I feel like there was probably a little more behind the scenes. Like if I win dominantly in the fashion that I usually do, I want to come back and fight in December, get 4 in a year. Because it seems like he really wants that 4 defenses in a year.
And I can understand why he's confident enough to do it based on the first Piotr Yan fight that he had. Because it's like, what's really going to happen? Do you think anything would go differently in a rematch with Yan?
Peter Yan is very. I'm a big.
He's very good. I love him.
But I mean, he's strong and he's like thickly muscled. Like he's strong in grappling positions, but he's just smaller than Merab. Yeah. Like
that's
being
not
the
a
same
good
size, like height wise, as Merab, and having significantly less muscle on you is a little bit of a scary prospect. So I feel like he'd probably just out physical him again. Probably land that overhand a lot, get his eye all bruised up like he did in the first fight.
And Marab didn't say this in particular, but some people are speculating that maybe at some point he's going to jump and go up to like 45 and try and get the featherweight belt.
I think a reporter asked him, he did say that he has a lot of respect for Volk and like wouldn't do that, but his coach, John Wood, said that that is something that maybe would interest them. So
If you
we'll
clean
see.
out, if you clean out the division,
Why not? Also, you
not?
see how every time he weighs in, he looks deathly. So maybe that cut gets a little hard for him as he ages because he is, I think, 36 right now.
yeah, he's
not
like
a spring
30,
chicken.
35, 36 maybe,
Yeah.
but he says he wants to fight till he's 50. So
We'll see with that. I feel like he can make a good run. Yo, Neil Magny's 42.
yeah, I know.
Fan favorite, channel favorite, Neil Magny.
Want to know on the want to know while the show is going on.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like we can get a couple more in there.
I hope so.
But let's talk about featured fight: Yuri versus Roundtree.
Oh, what a good fight.
What a crazy fight.
I love that fight. It was the funniest fight. I think I was dying laughing the entire time.
Bro, there were a couple times where Yuri like jumped at him and
Yeah.
he got caught in midair and he's like mad on the way down. And I'm like,
he was fainting. It's like his version of fainting is I'm going to go
Like, I'm just
halfway
gonna-
with a flying knee. I'm not going to follow through, but I'll jump.
and I'll just be airborne.
yeah, I'll
and then
just be in midair.
I love there's a Duplessis screenshot where he's just like in the air, but there were
Yeah.
so many of them I saw on Twitter after the fight where it's just like Khalil in his fighting stance and Yuri's just like airborne.
Yeah. And Yuri, the funniest thing about Yuri, I think after that fight, it like solidified. I think Yuri is my favorite UFC fighter to watch fight. I'm being serious. I think he is because it's always like the same thing. You know exactly what you're getting into. And I think, what was I going to say? Yuri, one of my favorite things about Yuri is every time he gets cracked, he just literally like looks away. He gets angry. He gets
love
pissed
that.
at himself.
He's like, I can't. And bro, his quote after where he said, oh, putting your hands up is very effective for
Yeah,
defense.
I didn't believe in it.
I didn't believe. Whoa, this is rocket science.
Yeah, I
This is he's unlocking.
I never
this
thought
is
it
like a
would
new,
actually
like, Yuri
work.
Prohaska, like 2.0.
Yeah, he's learning just now.
He's learning
45 fights
into
into his career. Yeah, having already won the belt. Oh, maybe I should put my hands up.
I saw this clip of him in one of his Ryzen fights where he was in bottom on full mount, just like eating shots.
I
and
saw
then
the same clip.
reverses the position and knocks him out.
It
in,
was
like,
it was
the span of
nuts.
10
I saw the
seconds.
same thing.
He's everything with him is just hilarious. And I was watching one of the embedded episodes, and some of his training was he would tape his mouth and nose shut and just do sprints.
Yeah.
This man's gonna get like a heart attack before
Yeah, I
the
know.
fight
He's
one
nuts.
time. He is nuts and speaks to this little anecdote real quick. Remember, he had that really bad shoulder injury, but the only reason it was so bad was because he tried to force it in so hard that it just destroyed his shoulder. And it's just the samurai.
I love him.
But I also I want to do a little bit of matchmaking. Actually, let's talk about that third round real quick. Rounds 1 and 2, there was a very obvious speed advantage for Khalil.
Obviously,
Yuri couldn't
Khalil
really get in
rounds.
there, but I did write down that he was very good with that like little punching, stabbing teep kick to the body, and that really weighed on the gas tank of Khalil, which kind of led. I don't want to say led to the finish because you never know. Like maybe the gas tank got depleted when in round 3 Yuri was really, really hammering those body shots.
Mhm.
So he came out kind of fresh, but I think that sustained damage really like kind of added to that overall like depletion of the gas tank from Khalil. But going to round 3, craziest round like ever.
Yeah.
Firstly, so much happened. Still, we're jumping around. I feel like Yuri got cracked a couple times in that round,
He did.
and Khalil saw him get cracked and stay on the pressure, and just knew. Like
Yeah.
there was a point in which Khalil like got off the movement, just kind of stood there, like wasn't really firing, and that's when you knew the finish was coming.
Like 10 seconds before the finish was when they were kind of like
the
face to
clinch,
face in the
yeah.
clinch, and Khalil landed a big elbow, and Yuri
And
just
Yuri
he
returned
ate it.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He came back with the same thing.
And I feel like Khalil seeing that, it's just a zombie just coming at you. And it was.
There's
you just
nothing
knew it
you
was
can do.
coming.
There's
You just
nothing
knew it
you
was
can
coming.
do. Khalil
But
fought a perfect first 2 rounds.
His stand up is just so incredible. And, it makes Jamal Hill look good.
Yeah.
Maybe he beats Reyes.
This also begs the question: if you go by those first 2 rounds,
Yeah.
like we said before, how hard does Alex Pereira hit?
How hard does he hit, man?
It's ridiculous.
But I want to do a little matchmaking because now that we're back in the light heavyweight division, we got to address one thing firstly before we matchmake. Are we sending Alex Pereira up? I want him at
heavyweight?
265.
I think it's up to him at this point because he's done so much
I
already.
hate the fact that Dana doesn't want to see that.
He already called for it. He wants to fight John Jones at the White House next year. He said, I want a super fight. I don't want to fight. And he said before the fight, he's like, I don't know how much longer I can keep making 205. So,
I think John Jones is done. I think he just likes the hype around his name.
I think so too.
I want to see Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall.
So do I.
That's
It's like, it's like the fight that they can make.
But like
it's the fight.
Like logically, my brain's telling me, okay, right. We know that Tom Aspinall would not play around and shoot a takedown instantly.
He said it himself.
But I've seen Tom Aspinall strike. He's so fast. He's extremely fast, but that chin is in the air.
Mhm.
And Alex Pereira coming up with that like 185 pound skill, he could, and that check right hook, that's money. That's his bread and butter. Like I can see a world where Tom lunges in to get that jab off, clean right hand. Hurts. I don't know about hurts him, puts him out.
There's always a
I can see him
chance.
getting hurt.
We don't know what Alex's power would look like at heavyweight, and also Tom Aspinall's chin hasn't necessarily been tested that intensely.
Yeah. Well,
he got hit by Sergey.
He got hit bad by Sergey.
He ate it. That was impressive.
But that was that was an exchange too. So yeah, I rate Tom's chin. I think Tom Aspinall is I would bet Tom Aspinall to win that fight if they were to fight. But
especially if he follows through on his supposed game plan where he says in the first 10 seconds, I'm going to spear him across the cage.
Yeah, I
and
love
take
that
him down.
Yeah, he did that against Andrei Arlovsky. Like literally,
yeah,
like
he literally
like
said just like Arlovsky. He's like, I just spear him across the cage right off the bat.
And then I wanted to talk about matchmaking though. So let's say Alex Pereira is up a division. This is where I matchmake it. I'm doing Yuri versus Carlos Ulberg for the, I guess maybe interim title if he like loses and comes back down, maybe, or the vacant title depending on whatever.
I agree. If he moves up,
situation.
then yes, that's the fight.
Yeah, and then automatically I'm booking Ankalaev versus the winner. I feel like he's done enough, and he's been in the UFC for long enough that like the fact that he has beat Alex Pereira for one, and then his last two fights were title fights, you could throw him back in that situation. And
if they want him to fight again, like who is he going to fight?
Who's he going to fight?
If Yuri's fighting Ulberg.
Yeah. But looking at Khalil's side of this now, this kind of puts him a little bit down in the rankings. I said the winner of either Rakic versus Mirzakhanov, because Mirzakhanov versus Khalil could be a really good fight. Those two were like kind of built, not the same. I said they're the same size. Khalil's like very thickly muscled, and Azmat Mirzakhanov like looks blobby but has that dense muscle, and he hits hard. They're both fast and they're both speedy, and they both kind of have that same gas tank. I'd like to see that. And then Rakic as well. I think Rakic can win that. I think it's a winnable fight. And then also I wrote Johnny Walker rematch. They like rematches, and I feel like they want to see They like to give Johnny Walker good little fights, get him paid.
Because imagine if Johnny Walker wins those big fights and then gets in the big spot. Like people are gonna want to watch him fight.
All right, let's get through the prospect watch. So I got a bunch of guys actually. Like I said, this was a great night of fights. Firstly, Yusuf Zalal really made Josh Emmett look easy and
finished him inside a minute and a half.
And he transitioned from a couple of submissions, and honestly, it really looked like he was in total control on the ground.
Oh yeah.
He went rear naked choke, and then separately in a different scramble, he went triangle and transitioned to the armbar from the triangle, which I thought was really sweet because he was kind of like Josh Emmett was posturing up, and then Zalal was slipping down, but just adjusted it so he can snag onto the arm because he had the arm trapped in the triangle. So
it was a funky look. I didn't think like at first when the fight stopped, I was like, what happened?
And like you couldn't see him tap on camera, and the crowd was confused too. There was no pop at all.
Yeah, there was nothing.
But made very easy work of Josh Emmett.
That was very impressive.
Next up, Joe Pyfer, Salty Boy, already ducking Paulo Costa. I saw in an interview. He's like, I don't want that fight. I want Vettori or I want Delidze, which are like the two worst guys.
I want a loser or I want a loser. I don't want to fight the guy who just won. I want to fight the guys who just lost.
Our Salty Boy, Joe Pyfer. I mean, patient game plan. He fought very tactically.
Is it hard to be patient against a boost though?
Yeah, it's
everyone
easy,
knows what happens.
It's easy
because a boost came out, fought a good first round, probably won it, and then he came out in the second, got rocked, got choked.
And the thing is, like, if Joe Pyfer is like a a top of the division guy, what I saw from him in the first round with the wrestling wasn't very impressive.
No.
Like, I don't know if that flies the top of the division. Like, firstly, let's not even talk about Hamzat. But any like top level wrestler could really like get in there and make it look easier. Any like dual level threat who can switch levels, like go up top and take him down. I feel like could make not easy work, but like get some real points against Joe Pyfer if we're going point for point, like scoring system.
Yeah.
But does get the knockout in the second round. He said
choke.
he came out flat and was falling asleep on the walkout. So take that as you will, but
That's whatever.
yeah.
He won the fight.
He won the fight. Let's move on. No one. All the hype is kind of gone post him losing to Jack Hermanson, a crafty man's performance.
Speaking of hype, the next one,
a Tabor Gautier. We're getting back to it. People talking about Ngannou, the middleweight Ngannou. We were talking about him with the Alex Pereira power. I mean, it sucks that he can't really find guys to fight. I don't know if that's true. It just kind of seemed like Joe Rogan iterated it that way. But he is extremely good. He is 23.
Yeah.
And he's very technical. And maybe you just rebook Ozzy Diaz. I'd imagine the UFC are going to kind of take their time considering this guy is 23. So like
you don't want to rush him into
what
anything.
Do we have to lose? He's 23. We have
no reason to rush him.
We have so much time.
That knockout was funky too.
Was funky.
Because I didn't know what happened again. Like he shot like I forget who he fought. Vines?
I wrote it. It's Tristan Vines.
Tristan Vines. He shot like a takedown. Well, his first takedown, he telegraphed really bad and got
was
caught
just
with a
running
knee.
at him with his head down.
Then he got in on one, put him on the cage. It was like 2 quick elbows, and then he just fell.
I think it was the down elbows. I really think that's what got him. And then because he had the crossface, he was pulling him over. He was already done from the down elbows. He had no balance. So when he's pushed off of him from the crossface, hits the mat. Mm-hmm. That's the way I was confused too. That's what I thought happened on the replay, but wacky finish. And he kind of knew it too. After the fight was finished, he walked around like, what am I doing here? Like, I could be doing something better.
He opened the fight by just circling the edge of the cage. He wouldn't go near the middle.
I don't blame him. I
don't blame him. I think he got away with that. If he knew he was going to lose, I think he got away with that with like as little damage as possible as compared to like what could have happened.
Yeah, but hey, I'd like to see him fight in the UFC.
Give him a shot.
Like, why not?
He stepped in there.
Tabor Gautier.
He stepped in there against one of the most dangerous prospects in the business and did it on like 3 days' notice. So yeah, I would give him another chance if I was Dana.
Why not?
See what he's got.
And I'm sure like part of the incentive as to taking this, because he was unsigned before this, was like, oh, we'll give you a 2-fight contract. You might lose this one, but if you look good in the second one, we'll resign you. We'll give you a little extra bread.
He deserves it for taking a fight like that on 3 days' notice.
Too. And then Daniel Santos, my parlay killer.
Mm-hmm.
He did look good. I just wish he would commit to 135 because I'm not trying to comment on any other man's physique, but he did look a bit like flabby in there.
A little bit.
And especially because that fight was catch weight and he was the one who missed the weight, who requested for the catch weight. So the fact that he made 135 and needed a catch weight for 145 is already like cuttable from the UFC. We've seen Brian Battle get cut. And someone else missed weight like that recently, but didn't get cut.
I forget who it was.
It was on one of these most recent cards, but it'll come back to me.
Yeah.
But also like if you're like going in between 45 and 35 and you're going to go to 45, at least put the muscle on. Let's get serious about this because he's getting towards the top of the unranked in 135 or 145 because that was a very good win against Zhu Sang Yu.
And it was like I think it was evident that it happened so fast in the second round.
Yeah.
Like Zhu Sang Yu kept backing up and his chin was up.
Chin wide open.
And then, just
Daniel
looping
like,
left hand, dropped him. That was it.
No, I'm not playing with this guy anymore.
No. Especially after the taunting.
Yeah. Next, Jacob Wicklacz fought Patchy Mix.
I didn't like this one.
Firstly, I thought Patchy Mix won, but I also thought Jacob Wicklacz looked good. I hated how much he went back to the guillotine.
Yeah, he kept jumping it.
It seemed, I don't want to say it seemed stalled, but they were all good guillotines. Like if Patchy Mix is struggling to get out and like very much needing to address this, and there was a couple times where Patchy Mix gave up position to get out of the guillotine. So it just speaks to how good of a grappler he is. And he was extremely good with the butterfly hooks, kind of getting Patchy off of him. not allowing Patchy to get any significant control time. But I mean, he looked good on the feet round 1. They were both tired going into round 2, but
Yeah.
it was short notice for him.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely thought Patchy won at the time, but it wasn't anything like
so
crazy.
yeah,
It
it
wasn't
was
anything nuts. Patchy Mix didn't look great.
yeah.
The striking,
He was tough. I'll give him that. Like he
he
was walking
was,
him down, and I
but
respect that pressure and the striking. He really needs to move that head, man.
the striking
He needs to tap
is
in with Yuri.
the
I think
striking needs some work.
Yuri can, if Yuri wasn't moving his head, he can convince Patchy Mix maybe.
If
But
he loses another fight, he's gone.
yeah, no, but I feel like he's a decent name. I feel like there's a decent crowd behind him. I feel like he has some fans.
Maybe I feel like
Also-
there's a segment of the fan base now that's kind of like, oh, is Patchy Mix gonna win? Is Patchy Mix gonna
Yeah,
win?
there's-
Like
there's
if he goes in again, I'm gonna be interested. I want to see if he
Yeah.
actually gets it done.
And also, I feel like the more that you fight him, like the more you sign him to fight, the more you can kind of like, as a UFC fan, just kind of like crap on all these other promotions. Like, geez, this guy's losing to the lowest level of bantamweight.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I will say, Jacob Wicklacz does seem like a high level bantamweight, and he's been training with what's her name, Joanna
Mhm.
and Jacek for years now. Like I saw a video of him in 20, like I think it was like 15, like in her corner, which is good to see. I'm glad he's in the UFC now.
He was a KSW champion, it said, right?
Yeah.
He
Which is
wasn't
very high
like
level
some
stuff.
nobody. And I did hear about his grappling coming into the fight, that he had good grappling. So it makes sense that he threatened a few submissions against Patchy and got him scared.
All right. Let's run through a couple more real quick. Edmund Shabaznian is only 27.
I know he's still
He has a
young.
lot of fights in the UFC, been around for a while.
First round finish.
Lost to only elite competition. Derek Brunson, Jack Hermanson, Nasruddin Imavov, and Gerald Mearshart.
Gerald Mearshart.
You know, greatest middleweight ever.
GM3.
Most fights ever in middleweight. We respect GM3. We love GM3 here. I actually watched that fight too. It was of course GM3 gets knocked down in the first round, submits him in round 2.
Exactly how you'd think it goes.
Exactly how you think a GM3 fight goes.
Exactly.
Perfect. But he's good, and his stand-up looked good. Muniz looked good too. I will say Muniz's stand-up looked good, but he's always had kind of a spotty chin. And at first, I didn't really think there was a lot behind that check hook. But when I saw it in the replay, he like brought it down to his hip and like brought it around. So it was a cleaner, more powerful shot than it like led on to be. But the placement and like just kind of it being like not really, he wasn't really like stood. He wasn't in his base. It was like a looping shot. I will say a little bit of a spotty chin situation there, but the stand up is good.
Yeah.
I was impressed. Also, I might say this guy's name wrong. Punali Soriano. I was impressed with his wrestling. People were booing because they thought he stalled out the fight. And this was another case of Nikolai Veretennikov jumping a lot of guillotines. And I feel like the guillotines more stalled it out because the fact that it's so redundant and you're going back to it made it easier to address, but it just takes a while. So he would always peel his head out. But I was very impressed by his wrestling. And when he was very gassed in the third round, he was still doing big lifts. So it speaks to his strength a lot.
Mhm.
And then one of my underdogs that I shaded, he was a minus 600 for Reed Basharat. Didn't look like it. Looked like it could have been a pick'em fight.
Mhm.
Maybe like a slight favorite. He did not. Maybe I'm hating now just because he sold my parlay.
Sold the lay.
Sold the
It
lay.
happens.
I don't gamble. I just kind of made some picks, and I was like,
It's just for ego.
and yeah, it is for ego. And I asked one of my friends who has like DraftKings and all the stats available, like if I put all 3 of these like underdogs together, like, what's the money looking like? And it was like 10 for like I think it was like 3 or 4,000 or something like that.
Something
like real
ridiculous.
good money. And I was like, okay. But we'll say my underdog that did cash out, my one underdog was a plus 260 Ramiz Brahimaj. Good guy. I knew he would win. I'm a big fan of his. He's a New Yorker, so already
Got to go
fan.
local.
I predicted his physicality advantage. Vanderford wouldn't be as much because Ramiz Brahimaj is very, very strong. And he was a bit more physical and had him in some positions that took a while for Brahimaj to get out. But his stand-up was really sharp. And ending his combinations in tight with a head kick was very much what won him the fight. I thought that if Vanderford entered that grappling exchange unrocked, he probably would have been fine. But the fact that he was so bloody and kind of maybe slipped into that bulldog choke a little more, very much made it worse for him.
Mhm.
That's everything for UFC 320. We do have a couple of announcements. Are you interested in having your voice heard? Maybe like us, a little podcast show.
Yeah, maybe
Interested
you
in
have more to
hosting a
say.
show on WIUR? That's this where we're at right now. Email our president, Robbie Basel, or come by the station and we will help you get started with that. We got time sheets across the week. What is it, Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, every weekday, we have
Every
shows running through
weekday.
here.
And they're
And,
flexible. They got morning shows if you need. Come through.
I got shows all day. They had shows earlier today. One of them was me. I go on at 1:00, and now I have a 5:00. So shows run late throughout the whole day. And speaking of the shows, shout out to this week's or last week's, I guess, show of the week, Iona Gals. You can check them out every Friday at 11 a.m. only on WIUR radio. Where's Octagon Antics on these? We got to get on this.
Hey, okay, maybe last week it wasn't that good because the audio, but I feel like we have a good claim. I do a lot of writing for these. I feel like there's some.
I feel like
to
we
be
got a good
said.
show going
We
right
got a
now.
good show. I keep sending my friends the links. Like I have not all of my friends in my clique like really follow MMA like that, but the ones who do enjoy the show. Shout out to you guys.
Shout out.
to you. You want to shout out your boys? Do you send them the pod?
I put them on. I tell them my picks beforehand
So we
before
know- we
I
know
let
ball,
you know.
I
We
feel
do.
like.
I
We
feel
know
like we
ball.
know. I feel like we know enough. We know a lot more than the casual fan
Yeah,
knows.
little put-ons here and there. Let's talk about the future a little bit. UFC Qatar, we talked about earlier, really stacking it up.
Oh, they're stacking it up.
So there's just a couple notable things. Dan Hooker, Arman Saruki in 5 rounds. Bilal Muhammad, Ian Gary, 3 rounds.
Flip it. Maybe not
I would
even
think
put
flip-
both. I
I think
understand.
I thought both should be 5 rounds.
I think so too, and I understand because Dana said after the card on Saturday that Dan Hooker versus Arman is a #1 contender fight, and the winner will fight Ilya, or the winner of Ilya supposedly if he's going to fight Gaethje.
Gaethje.
That's rumored.
That's what I've been hearing.
That's rumored. So regardless of what happens with that, it still seems funny to me that Dan Hooker is in a #1 contender fight in
He
2025.
very much fluked his way into this.
I can't believe it.
As much as I love the guy, probably didn't win against Gamrot. Was booked to fight Gaethje, fell out of that, and is now just in this #1 contender spot.
You got to
But-
imagine you're angry if you're Gaethje. Like you were going to fight this guy. I had you beating him. I thought Gaethje was going to beat Hooker. And then it falls out. You fight someone else, get a win. And now Dan Hooker's in a #1 contender fight. That gives you more reason to believe that you should be fighting for the title in that sequence. At least
Yeah.
that's in my mind.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Gaethje antics. He's been complaining a lot, really wanting that title
yeah.
shot.
I do understand it, but now that this is made official, that it's the #1 contender fight with everything that's happened with Arman falling out of his fight with Islam and Dan Hooker falling out of his fight with Gaethje, I can understand at this point in time why he'd want the fight with
Yeah.
Ilya.
Yeah, I see that. And I think the UFC made it very clear to Arman that he is not fighting for a title.
Yeah.
After his 310 antics.
Yeah, he pulled out a day before the fight. You don't get rewarded for
You do
that.
not.
Definitely not. You have to prove that you can
Hey,
make the weight and win
We'll
another
see.
fight.
We'll see if they give it to him. They
We'll
might
see.
be like, there might be a world where they're like, you got to wait a little more. At some day, I could see Dana doing that.
Yeah.
Like if it's a boring fight,
Yeah, Dana's not a fan of the boring fight. I also think they should have flipped the main event and co-main for this card. I don't know about you.
I think so too. I think that Dan Hooker has a big audience, but I think Bilal and Ian Gary both carry a large fan base.
I think it's the better fight.
I see what they're doing, booking these two. These are like the 2 most hated fighters in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that people are going to start to like Bilal Muhammad.
I don't know.
He posted like some promo for the fight where he was talking a little crap. I thought he was funny. And I thought his fight antics at 318 in Chicago were hilarious. Where he was like, you got to check in with me before you come to
Yeah,
Chicago."
yeah, that was funny.
And the best part is, camera went to him at the press conference, and he got booed. And it was
Yeah.
like, it was so good.
It's hilarious.
And
I
so I like his shtick. I like his
also
shtick.
gained a lot more respect for him after the JDM fight because he was literally standing there trading with him.
Yeah, part of me thinks that if he could have made it ugly and like clinched it out, he would have.
I think
But
so
I
too.
think it partially speaks to JDM.
I don't
how
think
good
it's
he
bad
is.
game planning. I think JDM just
I think JDM
really
just
came
really,
out
really
really,
good.
really good.
We'll talk about JDM soon for 322.
I feel like we mention this card every single time. It's
Every
just
single- we're
shaping up
very hyped.
so good.
If you don't know, we're New York guys. I plan on going to the fight, and I plan on posting some content regarding like some interviews on the street for this channel or for something like this. I made an Instagram, a Twitter. Follow me there. us there,
Yeah.
Octagon Antics.
Yeah.
Gonna try to start posting like clips, maybe something like that. But I do want to get like some short form interviews out just to like get something out besides the pod. I feel like a diversified kind of media is good for the channel like this, like
It would
short
be.
form stuff.
It would be.
But I think I do want to talk one more thing before we get into the other fights at Qatar. Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Gary being 3 rounds very, very much plays into the hands of Ian Gary.
It definitely does.
I think that we might see a performance very much like Jeff Neal versus Ian Gary, where Bilal might be reaching a lot and not really getting through with these punches, and he just resorts to the clinch and like maybe like kind of making it dirty along the fence, some dirty boxing, elbows and tight. But I think Ian Gary wins this, but I don't know if that's confirmed. I think it could get switched just because we are pretty far out at the moment. So it wouldn't surprise me if either maybe something happens with the main event and this gets promoted and this has to be 5 rounds, or they just promote it regardless.
And it's fun because it's like, regardless of how you feel, like you said, Bilal Muhammad, very disliked. Ian Gary, very disliked. But both of them are such good fighters.
You got to root for somebody too.
It's an awesome. See, I'm going to be on Ian Gary's side just because
he's
my
nice.
friend, partially one of my best friends, is he's Irish. So he found out about Ian Gary like coming into his UFC debut, and he's like, "Yo, apparently there's this really good Irish prospect like coming in, all that." And pretty much I've watched every Ian Gary fight since his debut. So I've kind of been like on his side before everyone hated him. So it's like I might have to be on Ian Gary's side.
I remember watching, I think it was 298 in Miami, and it was this fight against Jeff Neal, and being like, "Man, this guy has some really good stand-up."
Yeah.
And then because I didn't watch him versus Neil Magny.
Oh, he destroyed
Neil Magny, but he was kind of like a douche to him.
He was. That's around the time everybody started to dislike
that's
him.
when the mask started peeling back a little bit. But
I think he had targeted Neil Magny, trying to like throw jabs at him, like, "Oh, because Neil Magny said something about disciplining his kids, and he's like, 'Oh, you'd beat your children,' and that's when everybody was like, 'All right, come on.'"
what are we talking? This is an MMA fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys.
That's when it started.
Like, we're not talking about that. Let's talk about other fights on Qatar. They are really stacking this up. Normally,
This looks awesome.
Insane. Normally for the location fights, the fight nights, they like kind of stack it up pretty top heavy and then do it more based on like the regional fighters in the bottom, like they did in Australia. Not so much France, but Australia very much so. In Qatar, we got the featured fight is subject for change, firstly, but featured fight at the moment is Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev. Big Shamil guy. Shamil guy. Dude, when this man like almost knocked himself out trying to take down Jairzinho Rosenstruck and hitting his own head on the cage. I was like, this is my guy, bro.
I find it's incredible watching him fight. Like, you look at him and you're like, come on. Like, look at this
weirdly
guy.
Agile.
And then he's knocking dudes out.
Like the volleyball base. So he is very springy on his feet. He is like sneaky athleticism. Like,
he'll catch you off guard.
I want to see a knockout.
So do I.
In a perfect world, but
let Shamil climb the rankings. Let's get him a title fight.
But the thing is, if we do a little MMA math here, Sergey Spivak is at the same level, or maybe like a level above Jairzinho Rosenstruck, who Gaziev lost to. So MMA math tells us bet on Sergey Spivak, but I don't know. I think he can be out physical. I mean, he looked small against Cyril Gahn, Sergey Spivak. But let's move on. Jack Hermanson making his 170-pound welterweight debut against Mazteki Oralbai. I'm a little concerned for Jack Hermanson. I'm a fan of the crafty vets, but this is I think the fact that he's cutting a lot of weight after that knockout loss at 317, not good optically. And that's a guy who didn't really fight all that much before. He had that big layoff after the Joe Pyfer fight and comes back, gets knocked out. He's fighting again very quickly.
Yeah, it's like it's literally like almost a little bit more like time in between, but it's
very similar to
he fought on the same card as Charles.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't want to turn around too quick.
Couple of vets coming back scary like that, scary quick. Also, we'll talk about this later. But Davison Figueiredo, coming back very quick. I'll get a little more into that. I was in exercise science today researching this.
Oh yeah.
But let's get through some of the rest of the UFC Qatar stuff. Volkan Ozdemir versus Alonzo Menafield. Menafield coming off a big win against Omar Sy at This was before UFC France. I'm not sure where this was. This
Yeah, I
was,
don't remember
might
the
have been
card, but
Kansas City.
maybe.
Or not Kansas City. It could have been Atlanta. It might have been Atlanta. Kiori Hariguchi coming back against Tagir Ulanbekov.
Ulanbekov won me money last time he fought, so I got to roll with him.
Koryoji is good. He fought in the UFC before, fought in Ryzen for a bit.
Yeah, he's
and
returning.
I think in the in Bellator for a bit before it closed. But now coming back, he was supposed to fight somebody in Abu Dhabi. That fight fell through. Now he's on Qatar. And then also Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev. This is a step down. Asu Almabayev came off that fight over. It was a prospect.
I can't remember.
He was a good prospect and a good win. And I was hoping he can get a fight a little higher up in the rankings. But Alex Perez is a good fighter. Old, probably an easy win for him.
Jose Ochoa.
The
one that knocked out Durden?
Cody Durden.
I had money on Durden. I was very angry.
Damn. And then lastly, Felipe Lima, a prospect versus prospect, if we're going back to him versus Peyton Talbot, versus Daniel Marcos, who's also a prospect. Bunch of good fights. That's not all the fights. They're going to fill it out a little more on the bottom. I'm sure we'll see some more regional fighters from that area, like they did with the Azerbaijan card. But let's move on to UFC Rio. We got to speed through this a little bit.
Got 10 minutes.
We got time. I think mostly we're going to be talking about the main and co-main. Firstly, Charles Oliveira, welcome back. I'm very glad he's back.
Very glad he's back.
He's coming back so quick.
Yeah.
But I do like the activity. Between the time he fought Michael Chandler for the second time and now, this was his third fight. I think it was Michael Chandler, Ilya, and then now we're getting to Mateusz Gamrot. That's very good activity.
Which was originally booked as Rafael Fiziev. Which I'm very happy it's not anymore because I was a little scared for Charles Chin going into the fight with Fiziev. Coming off the quick turnaround.
Charles is looking good.
I think he wins this fight.
I think the major kind of storyline surrounding this fight is how quickly he's turning around. But I very much the switching of Rafael Fiziev to Mateusz Gamrot puts out there that like this is probably going to be less on the feet, more scrambles. But people sleep on Gamrot's stand up. He knocked down Dan Hooker. He knocked him down with the double punch. The double punch is like hands out like this. Somehow that worked. But mythical. Hey, that it really was like a mythical punch, like some type of like hidden, like unlockable like fight ending.
You don't see too many of them. So.
But like he does have a hard right hand, and he throws that overhand like many wrestlers when he's like feinting the takedown, throws that overhand, or like throw the overhand into the takedown, and he's hurt a lot of people with that. So I think that's a weapon that people sleep on. But overall, his stand up really isn't really, I would say, enough to really worry Charles Oliveira.
I don't think it's as dangerous as Fiziev's.
Also, Gamrot is a big pressure wrestler, but I thought he was kind of clumsy against Dan Hooker. A big tactic Dan Hooker used to get up, he would leverage the guillotine and then kind of just like scoot his hips back. And Gamrot was kind of stuck in that position. I'm sorry, if Dan Hooker can get a guillotine on you while you're shooting, Charles Oliveira can decapitate you. That's where we're at.
Don't let Charles get the neck.
Scales here.
Don't
want to let Charles anywhere near a limb.
No.
And I feel like we're going to see like a vintage Oliveira. I feel like we're going to see maybe like a pretty scramble heavy first round. Maybe some clinch time. I think round 2, this is my prediction, official prediction. Round 2, Gamrot hurts Oliveira. We work our way back up. Oliveira hurts Gamrot. It's like a classic, like Oliveira back and forth, hurts him, panic shoot, sub. I just see it in my head. But I am predicting Charles Oliveira for that fight. I think the crafty vet gets it done.
I think this matchup, especially on short notice, plays into him a lot more than the Fiziev one did, especially with the quick turnaround. Like I said before, I think, like you said, I think he's going to find a way to choke him.
And I'm excited to watch these scrambles. I rewatched Mateusz Gamrot versus Arman Sarukian recently, and the scrambles were insane. And I'm just very excited to see this. I'm excited this is 5 rounds too.
There's a lot of people that like don't appreciate good grappling enough.
Yeah,
like what fight I really enjoyed watching when I watched it live was Aljo versus Movsar. That was a
I
great
like that
fight.
too. I thought that was a great fight. Um, what's up with Mozart? Firstly,
I
God
don't know.
knows.
Where is he? Book
Where
him.
is he? Yeah.
Get him a fight.
All
If he
right,
wants a title shot, he's got to get a fight.
let's get to that co-main. I wanted to talk about Davis and Figueiredo a lot because Davis and Figueiredo was coming back a week after Corey Sandhagen, who he just fought, but that fight ended due to like an injury TKO, and it seemed like a very serious injury at the time. MMA fighting, it's part of what's it called, SB Nation, wrote that or reported that he, where is it? Had a tear in his anterior lateral ligament, which is like a background stabilizer ligament in your knee. And I read that usually rehab is like surgery, PT, and then like it's like 8-9 months of rehab. And he's coming back in, I think it was 5 months. Yeah, 5 month turnaround. He chose not to get surgery, which I find a little alarming. And the fact that he's, I think, how old is he? 37, 38?
37.
37.
Yeah, 37.
This kind of reads to me that he's like trying to get a little check before he dips. I think the way he looks at it is like his legacy is at flyweight. He
Mhm.
went up to bantamweight, tried to go for double champ. Can't beat Peter Yan. If you can't beat Corey Sandhagen, you're definitely not getting through Marab.
No.
I think he's taking as many fights as he can before he gets out of there because he does have a lot of wear and tear in his career. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, I don't think anybody coming up in weight is going to be able to compete with what Marab does.
So that weight cut is always rough for him too.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Montel Jackson. I think him knocking out Damone Blackshear in, I think it was like 10 seconds is a huge win. Damone Blackshear is a very good fighter.
And he finished that quick is a big win,
Is a
regardless
huge
of
win.
the
But
opponent.
it's not like it's a low level fight. That's Damone Blackshear, who
Yeah.
doesn't really get finished.
I remember being excited when he was going for 2 wins in a week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame that he has kind of fallen circumstance to some activity issues. But he has 11 fights in the UFC. So he's not like this newcomer. He's like a veteran in there. People look at Montel Jackson as like the prospect on the way up, and he very much is on the way up. But both guys have a lot of Octagon experience. So I'm excited for this fight. And Montel Jackson's very high level.
Mhm.
But I want to see the crowd pop Figgy gets. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this. I'm excited
Yeah.
for Charles. I want to see what the crowd looks like for him.
Oh God, I don't even want to just imagine it.
I
don't think-
speaking of the crowd,
I don't think Charles has fought in Rio in like years.
it's been a while. I think this is, besides 301, this is the first time they've been in Brazil for a while.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a bit of a Debbie Downer for the crowd. I think Joel Alvarez coming in there to play spoiler for Vicente Luque. Luque's loved by the Brazilian crowd. They seem to rally around him a lot. But Joel Alvarez, like thinking about how good he is at 55, and him, this is short notice for him, so maybe he's not bulking up to 170. But the fact that he doesn't have to cut weight like he did to get to 155,
Mhm.
maybe he can let his hands go a little more, is very much intriguing for me. I think he's very good. I hope he stays at 170. I used to think, because him and Jalen Turner are built the same, I thought they should both go to 170.
Jalen Turner, I'm surprised he never did.
So I think he'll come back at 170. It's just a sneaking suspicion.
Why did he retire? I don't
know.
I don't remember why.
He seemed like he
retired.
was passionate for MMA. I bet you he'll get that itch.
Yeah, get the bug again.
Yeah. Also, Janata Denise versus Mario Pinto, which is somehow a prospect fight. Prospect versus prospect fight at heavyweight. Those exist at heavyweight?
I don't know.
We have prospects at heavyweight?
There's
That's
not
Shamil
many.
Gaziev?
There's not many. I assume too, if you barely have prospects in the division, why would you match them up?
Which is why, even more so, like, why not send Alex Pereira up? What else is
Yeah,
Tom
exactly.
Aspinall going to do?
Yeah, what else?
A couple other fights. Jafil Fahino versus Clayton Carpenter. I'm a big fan of Clayton Carpenter, but this is a pick'em fight. This is even odds. So that speaks to Filio. Filio has decent wins. He beat Ode Osborne and Daniel Perez. Also fought really good comp like Muhammad Makayev and Alan Nascimento. Also at heavyweight, we got Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. I like Vitor Petrino. He's a tank at heavyweight. He's like weirdly like short, but this dude is like, you'd expect like there to be like a gradual buildup in muscle when you make that jump. But this man came into heavyweight yoked out of his mind because he had a crazy physique for 205.
I still
But
can't
just-
get the. Whenever I think of him, I just think of the Anthony Smith fight where he gets choked,
He gets choked out,
and then he
in
gets
Brazil,
and then he
too.
gets slept by, I think it was Dustin Jacoby.
I
Cut him
mean-
out in cold.
Yeah, but I mean that speaks to how easy, not how easy heavyweight is, but how accessible that jump up is
That's
for a lot
true.
of light heavyweights.
Yeah,
Like he's knocking guys out at heavyweight now, and he's approaching the rankings. I'd say maybe he might get ranked out or might fight a ranked fight after Thomas Peterson because he's pretty high up in the
yeah.
not ranked heavyweights.
If you're in that weight range and you want to get ranked in the UFC, go to heavyweight.
Yeah, easy.
Go to heavyweight.
That's the Kennedy and Nzechukwu method.
Yeah.
But also speaking of Kennedy and Nzechukwu, we'll get to who we fought before later. But now a debutant, Bia Mesquita. I could be saying that wrong.
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
I'm not familiar either, but I was doing research and I found she's a 10-time IBJJ gold medalist in Brazil. So, and she's a -700. She's 5-0.
Hard to pick about.
Hard to pick against that.
Yeah,
10 times is a lot, man.
that is a lot.
So her jiu-jitsu very much out of the question, an advantage against Irina Aliskiva.
hmm
And then lastly,
I'd like
wanna
to
talk
note on
about-
this one.
Walter Walker versus Muhammad Usman. I just wrote heel hook. for
Heel
this.
hook.
We're going for 4. I'm a big fan of not Mo Usman, of Walter Walker. I think he's hilarious. I think his social media is very funny too. And he can't really speak English, but he promotes his fights well.
Yeah.
And he fought in,
I want to watch it.
I think it was Kansas City, and he was doing really good promo in Kansas City, which I love. I respect a lot when non-native English speakers go out of their way to promote fights and the fight nights.
Yeah,
And I think the UFC sees that too, and that's why they like giving in a lot of quick turnarounds like this. But I think we got 4 coming.
I think so.
I think we got 4 coming because
Yeah.
Kennedy Nzechukwu is a very much a higher level fighter than Muhammad Usman. So MMA math tells us heel hook number 4 in a row.
And obviously
He's
that
going
doesn't.
for it,
And
too.
obviously that doesn't mean everything. MMA math, but sometimes it plays a role.
It very much like it's the logic you go to, but it's always wrong. So
Yeah.
like
Something's gonna happen. We're gonna
Something's
come
gonna
back
happen.
next week and say, "How did that
How the-
happen?
what the heck?
That wasn't supposed to happen."
But I believe it. I believe it. I
Yeah,
don't.
It would be fun.
I don't think heavyweights have the know-how to get out of a leg lock like
No.
that. I think they're like, I'm rolling one way or the other.
Yeah.
If my ACL destroys.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. What's impressive, he does it from like a standing like clinch. He did it against Kennedy and Nzechukwu. He had the body lock against the fence and just dropped for a leg.
Mhm.
Really impressive stuff, and like a very much a high level jiu-jitsu player at heavyweight.
Mhm.
That's everything for Rio.
That's all we
I'm
got.
excited. This is a good fight night.
Should be fun.
The thing is about doing a fight night in Brazil, when you fill the bottom out with local guys, they're all good. There's so
Brazil.
much. There's so much Brazilian talent in the UFC
Yeah.
that guys are just like begging to be on this card.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited. I think
We'll
this is
see
one of
what
the better
happens.
fight
What
nights.
prospect will we be talking about next week?
Hopefully, we'll be talking about Charles Oliveira.
I hope
But
so.
lastly, thank you, Alex Pereira.
Thank you.
Alex Pereira.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for tuning in, guys.
Yep.
The real MVPs up there was Alex Pereira.
Another
We'll see
great
y'all
week.
next time.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
See you.